what's going to be really important is the underlying models that power these agents will have to be domain specific. Domain expertise will matter. Google launched one, Cisco launched one. They're both open source. You're going to have the entire company that's going to be dexterous with AI. Otherwise, you won't be able to make the shifts that you need to make culturally. You and I might worry today about someone's social security number getting hacked. Tomorrow, you'll be worrying about interception of decisions at scale.
If you haven't been paying attention, the game is changing. AI is absolutely flipping the script on the rules of cybersecurity, both for defenders and attackers. Are you ready? Honestly, I'm not sure if I am. I'm Gerald Dozier from Simply Cyber, and in this conversation, we're going to dive deep with Jeetu Patel, the Chief Product Officer at Cisco, on the AI revolution. I got to sit down with Jeetu at RSA 25, and in this conversation, we're going to unpack the real challenges that organizations face in this new landscape. We will explore how AI is actually empowering cybersecurity professionals, not replacing them. And we'll get Jeetu's take on the future of AI-powered security, a future that frankly is quite closer than you think. So get ready to have your mind blown, your face melted. This is one interview you're absolutely not going to want to miss. Let's go. What modern challenges are organizations facing with threat detection and response in the era of AI?
AI is one of the hardest challenges that the cybersecurity industry has faced in the history of cybersecurity. And when we talk to customers, they specifically talk about three key areas where they've experienced a huge amount of challenge. The first one is the skills shortage. They simply don't have enough number of talented people to keep up with the volume of attacks that they're experiencing on a daily basis. Second is, the alert overload that they get. So they continue to keep getting bombarded with alerts, and the alert fatigue is non-trivial, and it's something that's really hard to separate the signal from the noise. And the third is the complexity generally with the platform. You've got about 3,500 vendors in this market. On average, people have between 50 and 70 vendors or products that are within their cybersecurity stack. And the complexity is untenable and can't be carried on in perpetuity. So those tend to be the three big challenges that most security practitioners tend to keep struggling about.
How do you see AI enabling cyber practitioners versus replacing them?
It's interesting because in a lot of industries, people are worried about AI taking their jobs. What I've found in the cybersecurity industry is most security practitioners aren't really worried about AI taking their job. They're worried about them not being able to do the job effectively without AI. And if you think about the volume and the sheer size and scale of attacks that are coming their way, coupled with the skill shortage, it's just impossible to get the job done with the amount of investment that organizations have. And there's about 3 to 4 million jobs that go unfilled every year in cybersecurity. So this shortage tends to be a huge opportunity with AI rather than something that becomes more of a concern.
What fundamental ideas in cybersecurity need to be rethought in the AI age?
Things that need to be reimagined in cybersecurity are around the architecture of cybersecurity. So I'll give you a couple examples. The first one is the application development architecture is completely changing. It used to be that you had an infrastructure layer, a data layer, and a business applications layer, or an application layer, and then of course the presentation layer. Now what we've done is we've injected a model into that stack. Now, it's not just one model, it might be many models. And what's the core characteristic of a model? It's by definition non-deterministic, which means it's unpredictable. So what we're doing is we're trying to build predictable outcomes for enterprises on top of an infrastructure that inherently, by definition, is unpredictable. And so securing AI is going to be a pretty big problem that needs to get solved, and we have to think about that very differently than the way that we've thought about any other challenge that we've had in the past. And then the second area is using AI effectively so that your defenses against the attacks aren't tackled only at human scale, but they're also actually tackled at machine scale. Without that, you wouldn't be able to do it. So the way that we see this moving forward is the world is going to be fully agentic, and you will have multiple agents that'll be conducting a series of tasks, coordinating with each other, fully orchestrated by some kind of a coordinator agent that allows us to make sure that there's a fair amount of automation in the work. And so that the alerts that actually cause us fatigue actually become an input for the model to go provide better outcomes and better clarity for the security practitioners.
What is Agentic AI agents doing as far as orchestration and worker tasks, and how's that collaboration even going to work?
So, when you think about Agentic, you have to actually go back to the problem that you're trying to solve. Because in cybersecurity, alerts are easy, but action is hard. And so if you just try to look at the way that humans get a body of work done, today, AI and agents are very good at conducting certain specific tasks, but not jobs. And we have to make sure that we actually evolve this world to making sure that in a coordinated fashion, completely coherently, a group of agents can conduct a job, right? And yes, they need to keep the human in the loop, but they need to significantly reduce the burden of where a human participates versus what can be done autonomously. And so when you start to think about this kind of structure, you will have multiple agents that might each have a different task that need to, at some point in time, come together, exchange data, might have a disagreement. Those disagreements have to be resolved, provided back to the orchestrator, who then might have a final recommendation, which in some cases might be fully autonomously carried out, and in other cases might require a human in the loop, because you need to make sure that you rely on the human judgment and instinct before we go ahead and check the task off as being complete. So that's the way that I see the agentic world evolving. And by the way, what's going to be really important is the underlying models that power these agents will have to be domain specific. Just like you wouldn't want a dentist to perform your heart surgery, you're not going to want a generic model going out and conducting very specific tasks. Domain expertise will matter, and you'll need to make sure that there's going to have to be reasoning models that are security specific, that are cost efficient, that don't prohibit people from using AI, but that encourage the use of AI in a very, very economically attractive way. And that's actually one of the things that you'll see a big shift towards in 2025.
What's the directions of techniques and approaches allowing agents to coordinate with each other?
So one of the things, as these agents communicate, agents will communicate with different data sets. There's the MCP protocol that Anthropic released, which is going to be pretty important. And then there's also agent protocols that are starting to come out. Google launched one, Cisco launched one, ours is, they're both open source. And so there's going to be a continued level of effort in making sure that these agents are seamlessly able to talk with each other. And I think the open source community is probably going to be a very important community moving forward. And anyone who tries to have an excessive amount of closed source proprietary capabilities, to some degree, doesn't fully understand the gravity of the solution, because my biggest enemy is not my competitor. My biggest enemy is the adversary. And what we have to do is figure out as an industry to exchange data effectively so that we can beat the adversary and create a sustained advantage over the adversary. Over the past 30 years, it's largely the adversary that's had the advantage, because they have to be right once, but the defender has to be right every single time. This is the one time where we can actually flip the tables. And I think open source is going to be a big part of it. Open weights models are going to be a big part of it. We're doing our part, and we think that many others should join in this picture. And the ecosystem should actually learn to partner, even if there are competitive elements amongst us, because frankly, it's for the safety of the nation, it's for the safety of humanity, and it's for the security of the world.
What challenges are businesses encountering with AI adoption in cybersecurity?
So this is a really important question, is what challenges businesses are actually facing right now. And it's completely counterintuitive, because historically, cybersecurity has been one of the reasons for the slowdown of adoption of technology. Today, cybersecurity is the accelerant to AI adoption. Because if people don't trust an AI model, if people don't trust an AI agent or an application, they're not going to use it. And the way that they trust it is if AI safety and security are actually factored into the entire equation. And so what used to be something that was a deterrent to adoption is now becoming an accelerant to adoption. And I think we as a cybersecurity community have to really make sure that we come through on our side, because without the appropriate level of success of cybersecurity and safety within AI, you will not see the level of adoption that's needed so that we can actually harness the full potential of AI.
What strategies would you recommend to address these AI adoption challenges?
It's really important to think about the strategies that we should implement for AI adoption in general, specifically in cybersecurity. So if you think about it, there's two broad level strategies that are super important. to pursue. The first one is securing AI itself. These AI applications and agents are built on models. These models tend to be unpredictable. They behave sometimes the way that you want them to in certain contexts. They don't behave sometimes the way that you want them to in other contexts. And sometimes the same behavior might be deemed appropriate in one context and not in the other. For example, hallucination, a fantastic feature to go out and write poetry. Terrible idea when you're thinking about cybersecurity. So we need to make sure that we have securing AI as a core initiative. Now, what does it take to secure AI? There are three things. First one is you have to make sure that the visibility in your environment is heightened, because you can't protect something that you can't see. So visibility is number one. Number two is validation. You have to be able to validate these models, which, like I said, are inherently unpredictable, to make sure that they're behaving the way that you want them to behave in certain conditions. And third, you want to make sure that you have runtime enforcement of guardrails where the models don't behave the way that you want them to, so that when there is an application that tries to use a model in a way that the model is going to have an unpredictable behavior, there's guardrails in place that prevent the model from behaving in a way that could come in harm's way. So the notion of visibility, validation, and runtime enforcement for securing AI is the first set of things that you need to do. The second set of things is around just using AI effectively for your security defenses. And this is really important because if you start to think about what we are facing today in cybersecurity, it's very different than what we were facing even 5 or 7 years ago. And it's going to be exponentially different in the next few years because the volume of attacks and the surface area of attacks is growing at an exponential rate. And there's no longer an option that we have of dealing with defenses at human scale when the attacks are coming in at machine scale. So you have to make sure that you augment the defenses at machine scale as well. And that means that you have to create models for AI that are actually going to be far more bespoke and purpose-built for security rather than trying to have a generic model applied to security. And so that's an area that we feel like there's going to be a fair amount of progress that you'll see over the course of the next few years. And then on top of that, there'll be these autonomous agents that will start to interoperate with each other. So two big areas: secure AI itself and use security to create defenses effectively with your cybersecurity stack. And if we do those two things right, we'll actually alleviate a lot of the concern, and the AI adoption will tend to kind of continue to keep rising.
What long-term vision do you have for AI-powered cybersecurity?
A lot of times you get asked the question on what's the world going to look like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Firstly, I think anyone who can forecast out 10 years today is just completely out of touch, because we've compressed the time of innovation so much, and we've compressed the time of scientific progress so much that what could happen in a year today is what would have taken 10 years. And so doing something that's forecasting out 50 years is a very, very hard exercise. But what I will tell you is that there are some things that are at this point in time no longer going to be speculative in nature. It's just a matter of time. First one is you're going to see a fair amount of autonomy, and you will see that there's going to be a fair amount of tasks and jobs that'll be fully autonomously conducted by agents rather than always relying on humans. But the human will always be in the loop, and it'll be our choice to make sure that we can dial up or dial down the degree of the human in the loop based on our levels of comfort. Number two, I think you'll have, as multiple agents coordinate with each other, you will actually find a need for an orchestrator of some sort that's ensuring, just like you have a management structure within humans that can organize humans, you're going to need to have a management structure for agents that can organize agents. And third is, I think the community is going to have to come together in collectively improving some of the core underlying infrastructure rather than each one of us doing it separately. So I think open source is going to be a much larger deal in the world of AI than what we've seen it be. And it's, open source has seen a lot of success over the course of the past, decade or two. But I think you're going to actually see a massive uplift in the amount of use of open source technology, especially with open weights on the model side, and the tooling, which actually needs to get open sourced as well for these models.
What are your thoughts on a chief AI officer as a role at an organization?
The question around how should we structure organizations for accommodating the augmentation of AI, there's multiple different approaches. One could be that, hey, I'm going to have someone who is in charge of AI holistically within the org, and that's all they do. The other one could be that I've sprinkled AI into every effort that I take on. And then there's going to be variance in the middle. The way that I feel about this is, over time, there's not going to be this explicit initiative for AI. AI is going to be part of the fabric of everything we do. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. If you look back, do we have a chief internet officer? No, we don't. It's completely baked into everything that we do. Do we have someone who's a chief mobile officer? No, we don't, because mobile is just one of the core aspects. Anytime there's a platform shift, you might need someone to catalyze that movement first within the organization, because not everyone might have a level of symmetry on the level of knowledge they have in the area. But over time, if this doesn't get baked into the fabric of the way in which an organization functions, that organization won't be relevant. I personally believe there's only going to be two kinds of companies in the world: those that are very dexterous with the use of AI and those that will really struggle for relevance. And so in the companies that are very dexterous with AI, you don't have one chief AI officer. You're going to have the entire company that's going to be dexterous with AI. Otherwise, you won't be able to make the shifts that you need to make culturally. But that might come in multiple steps. And you might have the first step, which is you have someone whose full-time job it is to go make that change management occur. And then over time, it just gets embedded within the entire fabric of the company.
With agentic AI, where does responsibility lay in a breach, and what's the investigation process look like?
One of the things that we have to actually reflect on in cybersecurity is specifically, how does the composition of a breach and the nature of a breach and the impact of a breach change in the world of AI? And so, you and I might worry today about someone's social security number getting hacked and having a whole database of social security numbers being stolen. And that's the data exfiltration side that we largely worry about with a breach. Tomorrow, you'll be worrying about interception of decisions at scale, in addition to data exfiltration. So yes, you'll still have to worry about data exfiltration, but you'll also worry about the interception of decisions, such as, I have an AI agent and they are now going to go approve 2,000 free tickets to Hawaii for families because someone figured out a way to jailbreak a model and do a prompt injection attack. That might have pretty consequential and lasting effects within an organization, both financially as well as reputationally. And so what you'll start to see is it's not just about the context of what a breach could do is going to expand quite dramatically, which is why I believe that AI is the hardest cybersecurity challenge that we've experienced in history. And we have to go figure out a way to make sure that this gets solved in a fundamentally different way than the way that we've approached it before. Therefore, securing AI is just as important as using AI for defenses and security.
So there you have it, a fascinating glimpse into the AI-powered future of cybersecurity with the insightful Jeetu Patel. I hope this conversation sparked some new perspectives for you and got your wheels turning as it did for me. I'm Jerry, and I'll see you in the next one.